Welcome to CompTIA Private Limited, e-learning program of hardware networking. We are discussing about printer technologies. We have completed two sections. One is for the dot matrix printer and other is for the inkjet printer. We are getting into the third part of this printer technologies. So the third one or the latest one is the laser printer. We are going to discuss about the technologies what we are using in the laser printer. So how it is functioning and how we are using in the industry, so that we can see in the discussion. Yeah, so laser printer uses a light beam for taking a printouts, and we have a toner powder available inside, and we have a lot of process involved for making the picture to get printed over the paper. And the toner powder is being sprayed over the paper, and I mean the printer image is being formed and it is getting fused so that it is making a permanent exposure in the print paper. So if there is any issue in the laser light or the any kind of mirrors, definitely the printout will not come. So it is becoming too complex and costly also. So the physical handling or the placement of printer is very important in case of laser printer. Okay, dust is also another common enemy for this laser printer also, like we had a problem in dot matrix and inkjet printers. So we should be keeping it very clean, and if dust is getting formed on the light, right, so the light will not come out and you'll not get the picture printout. So this is the challenge in the laser printer. But compared to other printers, laser printer has high quality. The dots per inch is very small, so it makes more dots in an inch. So the picture is very neat, accurate, more than the picture what we see in the TV or monitor. We get more good quality color printouts in the laser printer. So with this clarity or resolution rate, most of the industries, corporates, or the higher side industries, they go for laser printers. Though the cost is high, but they are getting a quality output, so they go with the laser printer. In colors also we are getting high quality, so preferably industries are choosing the laser printer. In residence, since the cost is high, normally people will not prefer to have laser printer, though one toner cartridge can up to 3000 or 4000 text printouts. um, by seeing the usage, or suppose I'm not using the printer for a long time and the dust is formed, you will not get the printout, right? So you'll have to take it out for cleaning. But the toner cartridge will be there for a long time, so I have used for 2 3 years. Still the toner cartridge is not replaced or still working fine. So that is the advantage of laser printer. But uh, for residents we don't recommend it because of the cost, right? Higher in cost. And if you are okay with the single color monochrome printer, you can go for monocolor laser printer, and you can get more printouts at a cheaper rate. Okay, but preferably go with ink tank printer in case of residence site, because usage is also less and you are not going to consume more. But if at all you are having a DTP center where you have to consume more printouts, better to go for a laser printer because you will get more printouts at less cost. Toner refilling, major aspects here is toner refilling. Once the toner cartridge is empty, you can take it to a standard or authorized vendors. Don't go to local vendors, local people. So they get 100 rupees or 200 rupees for toner refilling, but the quality of toner powder is not good as much. So better to go for authorized partner for the vendor printer like HP, Epson, or Canon. Wherever you are buying it, you'll have authorized partner for servicing, right? So go with them, give the toner cartridge, so they will do proper cleaning and refilling the toner powder and give it back. So even you are going for refilling, you are not allowed or you are not recommended for refilling more than 3 times, because the drum what we use, we'll be seeing in the other discussions, the drum life is there. So if you are taking more printed, one toner refill you can take 3000 pages, so 3 times you are refilled, so it is almost 9000 to 10,000 pages you have taken, right? So the life of the OPC drum will come down, and charging capacity will also come down, because these are all the electronics items, right? So there's a degrading of performance based on the aging. So it is always advisable to replace the toner cartridges if you are seeing the faded image or less quality images. This laser printer is considered as a non-impact printer because it is not touching the paper, and the distance between the tonal cartridge and the paper will be 1.5 inch distance. So it is being sprayed or published over the paper without touching the paper directly. So it forms a small dots. So in inkjet we have seen 300 by 300, right, per inch. It is less than that. So the overall quality for normal printout itself, you'll get good one. So good resolution. And color printers also efficient in case of laser printer. Only thing is it is costly compared to monochrome printer. Color printer is too costly. So based on your budget, company requirement, you can go for the laser color printers, and it will give you good quality of outputs. Like inkjet printers, laser printers also using the friction feed to move the paper. But along with that, it is using a lot of rollers to move the paper inside and move it outside. So that ensures that there is a proper feeding and loading of papers to the printer. So it is very quiet and prints faster. So I said the 6 pages per minute for inkjet printer. Here the laser printer can go up to 10 pages per minute with minimum quality or minimum range. The higher branded printers may go for 15 to 20 pages per minute. Text printout I'm saying, not the graphical printout. So whenever we measure the capacity, we measure only text printout. In a page you will get 20 to 25 lines, right? So based on that only we measure the characteristics of the printer. So in that way, laser printer is printing more than compared to dot matrix or inkjet printers. Only thing is it is more expensive because of the toner cartridge, and even if the diode goes off or any important component is going off from the printer, then it has to be replaced, or the entire printer has to be replaced. It is costing you more compared to inkjet and laser. So there are advantage and disadvantage for each printer based on your requirement budget. You'll have to take a risk and buy it. There are steps involved in the laser printing process. Six stage process we have. It starts from charging, exposing, developing, image transfer, fusing, and cleaning. So after taking print out, the last final stage is cleaning process. Let us see how laser printer is printing the printouts. First stage is a charging stage. See, we have something called OPC, that is organic photoconductor sheet. So it means that it is capable of conducting the voltages, right, through light, whatever you are getting the signal. So you'll get a high voltage power source. It has 1.2 kilovolt capacity minus negative voltage, right? Once it is once it is touching the OPC drum, it is getting charged to minus 600 volt, right? You are feeding minus 1.2 kilovolt. The drum is getting charged around minus 600 volt, so half of the capacity. So this works based on the intensity of the light. So if the light is high, the resistance will be less, and vice versa. So based on the intensity of the light also, this is being changed. For darker print, bold printout, light printout, so based on that the light will be falling on the OPC drum. So types of charging, there are two types of charging. One is you'll have continuous brushes. So the brush will be rolling over the OPC drum or electrophotostatic EP drum. So the drum is getting charged, right? Otherwise what you can do, what is there available, you have a roller. Instead of brush, you will have one more roller over the OPC drum, that is called as a charging roller. You can see it in the second picture, top of it. You'll have a charging roller where the minus 1.2 kilovolt is provided to this drum. When this rolling drum rolls on over the OPC drum, the OPC drum is getting charged to the minus 600 volt. So that is the first stage, how the OPC drum is getting charged, or it is becoming ready for accepting the print job. That is called charging. Next stage is exposing. Now you have to form an image over the OPC drum based on the input what you are getting, and you have to follow that to the output device. So here what it does, you have a laser light. Why this is called as a laser printer? Because we are using a laser light inside the printer. So we have a laser light, it is falling on the rotating polygon mirror, and it gets reflect on the scanning mirror, and it falls on different places of the OPC drum based on the character what we are giving, right? So the light falls on the OPC drum, um, and it forms the image. Wherever the image is exposed, right? The voltage will, because we are giving the positive charges, right? By the way of uh, printing the character, we are making the drum to a positive charge. It is at minus 600 volt charge, right? Now it is becoming minus 50 volt. Wherever you have character, it will be minus 50 volt, which is exposed area. Wherever it is not exposed, it will be having minus 600 volt. That remains the same. So now we have formed a roller. We have formed a roller that has the entire data kept over it. So now the data, the soft copy, is being transferred to the roller as a electronic signals. So all these things will be at minus 50 volts. So more than the laser beam intensity, more will be the charge discharge. So while we are charging, the discharging is also going to be high. That's why we follow a separate discharging process on the ending stage before the paper is going out. We ensure that the system is getting discharged. So otherwise, no, you'll have a problem with the printer. And you have a signal from a beam detect sensor. It is given to the logic card, and it is helpful for adjusting the intensity of the light rays. So if whether you are asking for a higher density or higher graphics quality or lower graphics quality, so this is going to play an important role. So with this two-stage level, the basic problems what you are going to face is no light output from laser diode. You will not get a printout because the laser light is fused, or the latest laser light, the path is getting dust, so clear laser light is not coming to you. Scanning mirror not rotates properly, so the mirror is not rotating, so it will not be able to scan the light. Beam detect sensor having issues. So BD sensor, if it is having issue, so what will happen, you will not get the same output what you see in the screen. For darker image you need to have a proper output, for lighter image you need to have a proper output. So that will not happen if there is a problem in beam detect sensor. Dust is occupied in the window due to toner powder or by environmental issues. So we don't know how the dust is getting formed. So we should be ensuring that the laser light is laser system printer is kept separately from the regular operations. So the third stage is after the second stage, third stage is developing. So toner powder is charged about minus 600 volt, all right, and this will be sprayed on the OPC sheet. In the OPC drum shared area will have minus 50 volt. We have seen in the opposite, I mean the previous slide, that wherever it is exposed it will be minus 50 volt. Wherever it is not exposed it will be minus 600, based on which you are going to form a picture in the paper. So it is already formed in the OPC sheet, and when the paper is getting rolled over it, it falls on the paper, and it is forming the image in the paper itself. So it is not touching actually, but it will be getting the image. It is not line by line, it is page by page, so then the entire image is being folded on the paper. So always we are discussing about toner, toner tank and toner powder. So here the toner powder is it is made up of plastic, for so that the toner is getting melt and sticks into the paper. You have a resin. This gives the binding force between the toner particles. So between the toners you should have binding, right? Otherwise it will fall down. And ferrous material gives black color and magnetic property to the tonal particles. Because of we are performing the charging and discharging process, so the drum should have a magnetic capacity, the tonal powder should have a magnetic capacity. Wherever it is dark it will get stick more, wherever it is light it will stick less. So all these things happens because of the ferrous material. So that becomes your toner as a makes the toner as a magnetic object for some time. After that, once the printout is completed, the cleaner blade is going to clean the OPC drum and clean the sleeve roller, and it cleans the charges, and ensuring that all the places are neutral, and it is getting ready for next printout. Image transfer. Now the image is formed over the OPC drum. That image has to be printed in over the paper. So how can you printer it? So you have a IT roller, charging roller, which is rolling over the printer. So what happens it? So it picks the paper from the paper pickup roller and pushes to the printing area. It is being printed from the OPC sheet. The image is getting transferred to the normal paper, and it is going for a push assembly. So after that you have exposing and other stuff, but this is how the image is getting transferred from the OPC sheet. The image is transferred to the paper and being submitted or circulated to the next stage. Next stage is the fusing stage, where the powder has to be fused, right? So because it is having electrostatic charge with minus 50 volt, where it was minus 600 volt, we gave the charges, now brought into minus 50 volt. So now it has to be fused so that the paper image becomes permanent and toner is getting stick with the paper. So there are two important steps to fuse. One is heat. Heat is applied to a Teflon or non-stick upper roller or sleeve film with halogen lamps or a higher element. So for fusing, we are going to use the halogen lamp inside the printer so that it is getting heated and getting melt over the paper, right? And the pressure is used for fusing toner at the paper with the pressure of a lower roller. So it is being pushed from the lower side to the upper roller, so the paper is being strong enough to face the fusing option. Symptoms of a bad fuser. So once the fuser is becoming bad, how will you identify it? Ghosting or double images, streaking, black lines and smudges, also jamming. So these are all the symptoms, right? The image is not coming cleaner, or we call it as a ghost image, right? Or one image over the other image, so it's like a shade. So we immediately find out there's a problem in fusing. And also if fusing is not properly happening, so once you take the printout outside and you just flip the paper, the powders will get dropped. So you will get again a few plain paper. So whatever printouts you have provided becomes waste. So this is how you go for identifying the symptoms of a bad fuser. Cleaning. So once the fusing is done, that is the final stage for printing the image, and your paper is coming out with a neat image, whatever you have given in the earlier stage. Now the printer has to be cleaned, right? So before taking the next printout, it has to be cleaned. So for that also we are going to use automation and ensuring that the printer is not requiring any user to come and clean it. It cleans by itself. So what happens here? So in the final step, you'll have a blade kind of thing, right? It will be touching over the EP cartridge, OPC drum, and scraps any untransferred toner. So any toner is left over the drum, it is being scrapped and collected to the separate tank available. We cannot reuse it, but we have to collect the paper. I mean, we have to collect the toner from the OPC drum. Otherwise, no. For the next image printing, definitely it will not help. So we have to clean and keep it safe. So this step is called as cleaning step. In the absence of this step, ghost images or uncleaned images are being printed. So it will be done by your a separate dedicated one, a kind of blade setup for removing the unwanted, unprinted toner cartridges to a safer place. So there are a lot of components available in the laser printer. Compared to dot matrix and inkjet printer, laser printer is somewhat complex in identifying the component and doing the self-service. So we'll see major components available in the printer. So paper transport. This setup is useful for moving the paper from paper tray to the outside. So this paper position is opposite to inkjet printer because it is inkjet, right? So it is flowing the ink from upside to down. We keep the paper outside and collect the printouts from the inside. This laser printer is just opposite to it. So these devices have a target of moving the printer paper from inside to outside. So these rollers will be helping for picking up the paper pickup roller, and you'll have a paper out sensors. So it will be ensuring that we are picking up the paper properly and moving out the paper properly. So if there is any roller damage for picking up the paper, definitely you'll have to do it again. You'll have to change the paper pickup roller. Logic circuits. So you have logic circuits for building up the logic for firing your print jobs and ensuring that we are not getting any issues or miscommunication from the logic boards. User interface. So user will be provided an interface for taking a printout. Once you power on the system, you will be able to see that the printer is available online, right? And you'll be able to provide. If you are seeing offline, right, that is another issue. So it means that the power printer is not properly powered on. You would have plugged on from the printer side, but not the main power, right? So you'll have to do it at both the places. So this kind of basic checks is required for fixing the issues. Toner and toner cartridges. So this is the toner cartridge. So this is the main drum. So if you are doing the multiple refills, I said this drum only. So you probably will have to go for replacing the cartridge itself. So 2-3 times replacing the cartridge is fine. Refilling, right? First time you buy it newly, and second time and third time you go for refilling. So it has a toner cylinder and often the photosensitive drum. So it has a EP drum. So that is being helpful for taking up printouts. Fifth is the photosensitive drum. So this drum is an aluminum cylinder coated with a photosensitive compound. So this is used for transferring the image. It captures the image to the printed on the page and also attracts to the toner to be placed on the page. So this is very important area. And the next is laser. So whatever data we are giving, soft copy, it is converted as a printer readable format and it is sent to the printer. So here laser lights take the responsibility of printing over the OPC drum, whatever required or whatever you mentioned in the printout application. So you are taking a printout of a Word document or a picture JPG picture document. It doesn't have any problem for the laser printer. It will be printing as expected. So laser light is playing a major role. So it bounces the beam off movable mirror instead. As the mirror moves, it shines a beam through a series of lens. So the heads are not moving here. You have primary corona. So primary corona charges of photosensitive particles on the surface of the drum. So they are taking the responsibility of charging the charging surface. Transfer corona charges the surface of the paper just before it reaches to the toner area. So it ensures that the paper is also charged to ensure that we are getting a proper output. Fusel rollers. Once the paper image is blowed over on the paper, it has to undergo a fusel roller. There will be two rollers available. So it will be pushing the paper and take a printout. So because of heat, right, some of heat is available. It will be able to make a proper image over the paper. Erase lamp. So once the printout is done, you should have the erase lamp which is against the laser light. So it is blowing on the OPC drum and ensuring that all the points are neutralized so that we don't get any conflict issue or the old image should not be printed in the printer. Okay, so we ensure that using erase lamp, the OPC drum is discharged fully all the places wherever we see. So power consumption is also mentioned here. So normally inkjet printers consumes 30 to 50 watts power. Commercial printer higher. So laser printer is 300 to 500 watts up to 1000 watts commercial printer. So commercial printer is always consuming more power. So advantage of laser printer is it is very fast in printer. So 6 ppm it was old standard, now it is 10 ppm. It is not producing any noise, so we can use it anywhere next to you also you can keep it. So it is not generating any noise. A typical laser printer provides a resolution of 1200 dpi. More than that also it provides now. Black and white printing cost of laser is less than the inkjet printer, so it is less than the inkjet printer. That is a good competitive in the market. Gives more cost saving for corporate security, corporate setup by reducing the single page cost. So in case of corporate setup, the overall cost is coming down, right? Because the refillment or processing, it becomes easier with the help of laser printer. The disadvantages, main disadvantages, cost. So I told you there's a difference between the laser printer for residence or lower end to the higher end. So it is depending on the uh, uh, models, the printer will be very costly. Toner powder is a tiny particle. While taking out, checking extra care should be there. So we should not inhale it. It will become risky. So we should keep it safe. Requires additional skills for refining the toner cartridges. So definitely we are going to take it out and take it to the different vendor for doing the toner refillment. He will have equipment. He will have safety measures for updating the toner powder. So more power consumption than inject printer, yes, obviously, because we have multiple rollers running on and providing the connectivity. So it will be taking more power compared to the normal printer. So some of the abbreviations I have provided over the printer document, whatever we have seen. So you can find out the abbreviations for future reference. So maybe you can use it for when it is required. So we have come to the end of the printer technologies. So this is the that section what we have seen now, and we have covered both dot matrix and inkjet printer in the rest of the two sessions. So check for the whole session and get knowledge about the printers. Thank you very much.